next is recess, last is math. So it's kind of a first, next, last kind of schedule. So tactile connections in the environment that promote literacy. So one way would be to make name tags. The name tags could be used on desk or in lockers or cubbies or baskets or whatever you use to keep your items in. And then the student has an idea of who's beside him, who's on the other side, who's behind him. It's kind of a way in the environment to put name tags and give them an environmental cue to things in the room. And then you could also use tactile cards for places or people, classroom teachers on the outside of the classroom, so that the student can find those as he goes in and he knows where he's at. You could even have them where they took them to that classroom and matched them. Like you'd have a second one and they matched them depending on what level they're at, or an object that they carry with them. Oh, sorry. And so this is just showing them on the outside of classrooms with, for example, there is 501 and there is a little art symbol with a paintbrush on the card. So tactile connections as a literacy medium. And so this is a little student, and he is using the cards to read. He was tactily defensive and would not read Braille, so we started out with this. It does have Braille on it, and I do notice in the video where he puts his fingers on the Braille first, which is great to think, well, maybe he's starting to transition into maybe more Braille.
All done.
Good, all done. Keep reading.
All done. No.
This one say?
Where?
All done work. I go. Good job.
Play.
Good job. All done work.
Go play, please.
I go play. Yes, what do you want to play on?
So he was able to read the sentence. He did need a good bit of prompting and cueing. You're going to see the same student who doesn't need quite as much prompting as he gets used to reading the cards more. But he needed a few prompts then. And if you noticed, he was looking at the Braille and then guessing what it might be. And then when he looked at the object, he knew what the card said. So he's kind of starting to look at the Braille more. So that's a good thing.
All done.
So one of my favorite ways to use the card is for language experience stories. So I made up this one. I don't have a video because I've not done it with a student, but this one was making hot chocolate. So you would make hot chocolate with the student, and then you could come up with a story. The story I came up with was, I want hot chocolate, or you could have the student help you come up with the story, which would be even better. And I just had, I want hot chocolate. I get my cup, I put in the mix, I pour in water, I stir the hot chocolate, I put in marshmallows. I like hot chocolate. So some of these I put together, like put in, I put that as one card, pour in was one card, just so that I could have less cards and the meaning would be there. So then we had a Christmas activity we did where we took a tennis container that holds the tennis balls, and we put colored rice and then a few small objects that were Christmas objects, and then we made tactile cards to match those. We did this as an activity at one of my cadres, and so the teacher took it back, and for the blind student, she poured the contents of the tube out so that they could feel around and find things. And so she taught the student the cards first. So we taught them what each one of the cards were. The cards were dry rice, peppermint candy, light bulb, ornament, find, ring, rainbow, red bow, and shiny star. So here's a little video of him reading these, and you'll notice he reads these pretty fluently.
What does it say?
I
Good.
found shiny star.
Good job. What does it say?
What does that? Okay, so the next way is to think about your curriculums and the curriculums you use. I know that students that have come from JCPS to short term, for me when I was at short term, used the News to You program. So this was a story about guide dogs. So I took that story, and I didn't use this with a student. This is just me making up something. But I took this story and the review page, and you could use just the questions. You would give them the question and ask who questions, what questions, when questions, where questions, why questions, or how questions, depending on what the story was. This one I said, when is Guide Dog Day? Who do guide dogs help? And where is Guide Dog Schools? So that was just coming from that workshop. And you could extend this to a language experience, which, like I said, is one of my favorite things to do. So you'd have a guide dog visit the classroom and identify 2 or 3 characteristics that the student finds interesting. Maybe they notice the fur, or maybe they get licked and they notice the tongue, or the leash and the harness, the ears or the tail, whatever the student seems interested in. And then you might come up with a story about that, which might be, so here's the cards I made to go with that. And I had this in its I like, and then for this one it was guide dog, but there were some other things I had, like the harness and something for the fur and the ears and the tail, because I thought that would be things they would notice. So I made cards for those. And then I used the I like card to make I like sentences. So it was the story I came up with was guide dogs. I like guide dogs. Guide dogs have fur. Guide dogs have a harness. Guide dogs work. Guide dogs have a special day. So I would have a card for guide dog, and then fur and harness and day and work that I could use, and then have is a core vocabulary, so I could just pull that off of the core vocabulary. And then I've also used this with a student using patterns. This is from the Not Far From Home series. And so there are cards for zip, is, sit, pick, did, if, six, things, and bed. So these came from that book, and we used those in a variety of ways, and then she was able to transition into Braille. It was just kind of like giving her a picture for those words she didn't know. Kind of a picture symbol, I guess, or tactile picture symbol. And then in Yayo's class, she was showing me this curriculum. It's called PIC, Environmental Print Curriculum, and she was using it that day when I went in, and she was using it asking questions, and the student had a variety of cards. I think she had the person's name. I can't remember if it was Joe. I'm thinking it was. And then it was sun and swimming and stop and playground and sign and bike. So he had those cards on a Velcro all-in-one board, the Velcro side, and he could choose those to answer questions as she asked a question. So I have a little video of him answering a question. I think the first question she asked was, where does Jim want to go? And I don't have, like I said, it's only 14 seconds, so I had to skip and get just the meat of this. So. Good. He does want to. Wait, it didn't play it out. Good. He does want to go to the pool. So he wants to go what in the pool? What do you do in the pool? You go
Maybe. Good. Find your tactile that represents the word swimming. Very.
So he was able to find the card, but if you can listen to him, I could understand what he was saying for most part, but it was hard to understand. So the cards are just kind of a support for him to make sure that he's understood. The people listening to him understand exactly what he's saying. But he knew that that Jim wanted to go swimming in the pool. And then there was another question asked. I think you can hear the question in this one.
Jim. Yeah, what does he take to go swimming? He takes his. Bike. Good. So find your tactile that represents the word bike. Jim.
And you'll notice he already had his hands on the bike card as soon as he heard the question. He started looking for that card. He had his hands on it. He was ready to hold that up as soon as she asked him to. Sorry. All right, so another series that she uses, another curriculum she uses is Edmark's Functional Word Series. And she has made lots of cards that she can put on the book, and the book has a Braille print label throughout the book and the pages. You'd have to ask her who I'm thinking this is the book, Making Books from APH. It might be the CVI one. I'm not sure. Yayo, if you're on here, you can tell us where that's from. But it's a book with cards, with big pages, and each page had a word on it, and Braille and print, and then there was a card, so the students could find the card and put it on there, or she could already have the card on there and they could read it, and they would have the tactile card as a clue. The words were. And then this is kind of what started this whole thing. This is Trey reads for the first time. And Trey's mom came down when we first started doing this. This has probably been at least 4 years ago. I was with Gerald, and we were downstairs, and Trey's mom was helping us make cards for Trey to use. We were making some of the core vocabulary and then some of the others. You can see on the faces, Mom is so happy, and so is Trey with the cards. He really liked the cards. And so Trey's going to read these cards, and Trey's speech I can understand his speech, but he needed a system for reading. So I'm going to play this for you so you can kind of hear Trey. You may have heard this one before because we've used it quite a bit. Well, there it is.
Symbol. What is on this? What is that?
Bubble wrap.
Yeah, you love bubble wrap, don't you? Do you love bubble wrap? Yeah. So it's Trey. What's this?
Go.
Yeah. Trey goes where? Where does Trey go?
Where's Trey?
What is that?
What is that?
Is it a little stick? A little branch, and then what's this? Rock.
Yeah.
So Trey goes
outside.
Good job. Good job. Symbol.
So, there we go. So Trey's mom was really excited about this and sent Gerald an email. I won't read the whole thing, but I will read the second paragraph that says, as a special needs mom who longs to celebrate the milestones that I see my friends celebrate with their kids, this was such a huge moment for me. It's important for the TVIs you're teaching to understand this. So this was Trey's first time to read, and Mom realized that, how this really was going to affect him. And if you notice, he was the one that was reading the calendar and schedule. And in this video, he was very echolaic. And as he's used these more, some of his echolaic had gotten better, or he wasn't as echolaic. So here's my contact. You can get me, of course, at Regina Quaid at ksb.kyschools.us, or you can text me. And my text number is on here is 502-693-1868. Just one number off from the school's address. But anyway, if you want to call me, text me first, because I don't normally answer phone people that I don't have in my contacts. But I'll be glad to help you with anything that I can. I'm trying to get back to me. Okay. I don't know if y'all can see me. Okay. So if you have any questions or would like to like for me to help you with anything, I'll be glad to do that. If you're working with a kid that has cards they're using, what the next step might be, or how can you include more language stuff, I'd be glad to help you. Like I said, give me a text or email, and we can get up and talk. And that's all from me. Are you going next, Terry?
I don't really have anything. Marianne had just asked me if there were any, like if there was any questions left over from the CVI piece. I said I would be happy to be here and help if I could, but I didn't have anything prepared to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just open up to questions, but both you ladies have had experience with this. For the group, we have about 7 minutes before we break for lunch, and then we will come back again at 1. So do we have any questions from this group?
Everybody just wants to go to lunch.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yep. If you have questions later, again, just call me, text me, or actually text me or email me.
Me too. I mean, everybody knows how to get in touch with me. I'm on campus.
Great. And I did add the more information about the TALC to the resource sheet. Okay. So teaching age appropriate communication skills. So thank you ladies for being here. You're a tremendous resource for all of us. So if we don't have any more questions, we're going to stop here and we'll see you all back at 1.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Make sure to sign in. Thank you so much.
Good job,
Appreciate
Gina.
you.
Thank you.
It's great. Thank you.